Hi, welcome to Dr. Lisa Solsenti's podcast, and I am Dr. Lisa. And today we are going to talk about my top solutions for digestion issues. And the reason why I want to talk about this today is because as you're going through the time this is being recorded, you'll be going through some holidays and eating a variety of different foods and, probably not eating as healthy as you want to or could. But I want to be able to give you some quick solutions that could help you, that you could try if you're having stomach issues, digestion issues, a little bit of heartburn or reflux during this time of year. And this podcast, if you're listening to it on a non-holiday season, it definitely can help throughout the whole year. I know when you travel, sometimes, your stomach's off. If you just go into a lot of barbecues in the summers, and just sometimes when you're just eating all different types of foods or not paying attention closely to eating healthy, or watching your food sensitivities and things like that, you can get things like stomach aches, diarrhea, constipation, and setting off your reflux and things like that. So let's just talk a little bit about some top digestion support or solutions that I have used myself and I use within my practice. So you can access these. So one of my favorite one with indigestion, bloating, heartburn, nausea, definitely reflux, are digestive bitters. And in general, they're known to assist in digestion. They signal the taste buds to create more saliva. And saliva is actually the very first step in digestion, and it's a very, very important one. And also is chewing your food. So this is actually you're getting a little bit of two things, digestive bitters and the actual idea of the mouth, the food's in the mouth. So when it's in the mouth, you want to have saliva, allow saliva to, produce. And if you are a person that has thick saliva or not a lot, drink a little bit more water. It sometimes helps. You might be dehydrated. Also, chew your food, chew slow, eat foods, not really slow, but, eat it at a good pace. Don't woof it down. I tend to eat really fast between patients and things like that. We are a society that eats really, really fast. I can share with you my first trip to Europe, and we were in Spain, and everything is so slow. And I actually loved it because I guess maybe being older, the younger ones might be like, this is just too slow. I want to get going. I want to go see things. But the whole eating in restaurant and sitting and enjoying your food and sipping your espresso or cappuccino is just a very different setting, and they have it right. You want to make sure that the saliva and the chewing is digesting the food, because when the food gets to the stomach and it's really not digested well from the teeth and from the saliva and from the mouth, that's one thing that can just set off your symptoms that we're talking about. Indigestion, reflux, bloating can be a cause of reflux right there, is that you haven't chewed your food properly. And you might be dehydrated. There might not be enough saliva to do it. So if we get to bitters, they're known to assist in that digestion. They signal the taste buds in your mouth. They help create more saliva. So that's another way we can. Very, very important. And there was a review of studies found that bitters can help regulate hormones related to the gut health and increasing food through the digestive tract. So the food's going to, go down your, from your mouth to your stomach and esophagus, and go down your esophagus to your stomach. And then when they get to the stomach has a very acidic environment. This is really important. And it has to be acidic. So it's going to produce acids. It's going to be an acidic environment, and that's what's going to help you break food down for the second time. So the saliva and the chewing help break the food down the first time, and then it gets to the stomach. We're going to break it down some more. A lot of digestive problems sometimes is that the body's not breaking down the food. The food's going through your system too big, a little bit too big, and it creates pain and creates problems. So sometimes digestion issues are actual digestion. Digestion is a mechanical method or procedure that the body goes through to break food down. So digestion itself can be an issue. Okay, so when it gets to the stomach, that acid is really important. And so I use bitters to help with this section here as well. So bitters help reduce the stomach acid. It helps create an acidic pH in the stomach. Our stomachs need to be, again, very acidic. But what's happening today, especially in the American diet, is that it's high in processed foods. A lot of people are eating processed foods. That's what they're choosing to eat. And they choose restaurants to eat. A lot of people I'm noticing that I am with, they don't cook. And that's a whole other conversation you can have with me because it drives me nuts. But the restaurant food is not healthy. And processed food is not healthy. Now, if you can work restaurants to get it healthy, and that's, again, another conversation to have. But most restaurants, grabbing and going or ordering them and having them cook your meals, they are going to be using salts, sugars, and fats to make their food taste well. When I cook, I really, really can control my ingredients in there. I also have a background in food science where for an entire year, we were in cafeterias and restaurants and in those big kitchens in the back. And believe me, when you're in the refrigerators and you start seeing what they order and where their food comes from, it isn't really farm to table, people. You're eating a lot of processed foods, which are they make the stomach non-acidic. They make the stomach basic. And this is where, in functional medicine, we feel that a lot of reflux problems are coming from. Because, hear me out, it's a different theory, but this works when we treat it this way and we approach it this way. When your stomach's not acidic and it's more basic, your stomach is going to try to produce more acid to get it more acidic. And so when food comes in and it's basic, it can't digest it. So now you're upping the amount of acid that the stomach has to produce to try to break down this food. You're kind of really messing up the stomach. And so all this processed foods, all this fake foods, these foods that are not growing, are not healthy, are not farm driven, farm to table, wholesome, real foods, are really, your diet is really a big part of this problem. The stomach environment, when it's not acidic enough, will respond by producing more stomach acid. In turn, this creates those symptoms like bloating and heartburn. So digestive bitters, they're sold in a bottle. They have a base of alcohol or vinegar, and they're commonly included. They're commonly a blend of herbs and roots like burdock, dandelion, bitter melon, wormwood. They're just a bunch of different herbs. And they do have a bitter taste, a very, very bitter taste. But you get used to it because you start feeling better. So it's one of those things that you take, and the first time you take it, you're like, it's a little bitter. And then as you start taking it and you're feeling better, you're like, oh, well, I kind of like this. You can combine this solution with repairing a leaky gut and changing your diet, and you really can overcome your digestion issues. A leaky gut is a whole different way of approaching the digestive tract than the medical world. We really look to find out what the causes are of a leaky gut. If you don't know what a leaky gut is, go to my you can go to my Instagram page. I have, little reels there that explain it in a, very simple, short manner. You also can go to my podcast. They're in there, and I explain it in a little more depth of a manner. And you also can always contact me, and I will sit with you and explain it to you. But a gut wall that's not working properly creates a very sick gut, and that's what a leaky gut is. So if you fix that, you get the stomach to work properly, and you change your diet, you really can overcome digestion issues. But again, to help you through these parties and these times where you're not eating so great, you can try digestive bitters. We do put people on digestive bitters through the Leaky Gut program as well. If you don't know which digestive bitters, you can also reach out to me. I'm going to try to write a blog post on this so I can have some links so people can find them, but you can reach out to me also, and I can help you with that. So remember, reflux is that your stomach pH is too basic. It's not acidic enough. It's coming from the food you're eating, the lifestyle you have. So you can make great changes here by stepping up to the plate and really paying attention to your health and your diet and your gut issues. So digestive bitters help. Okay, calming teas. So this is really, again, we're talking about solutions that can help you in the moment. This one sounds really like common sense, but when I meet with patients for the first time, most aren't really actually drinking healthy teas. And the history of tea actually fascinates me from country to country. And again, as I went to Europe, and I didn't go to Japan, but my kids did, and they brought back a bunch of teas. And so you start learning the history of different of countries. My sister was in London, and she had the history of tea there, and it's really, really fascinating. And I won't take up a whole podcast on the history of teas, but I can tell you it dates back to them being medicinal, and they use teas to as, I guess, medicine. You could use it as a tincture to put some herbs in there that would really, really be the medicinal or the medicine of the time, until Big Pharma came along and really changed the trajectory for, I'm going to go quote medicine, unquote. Teas are super soothing, and they're calming, and they have many, many beneficial properties for ailments. So that's really where they stemmed from. Teas like peppermint, ginger, fennel, chamomile, dandelion, green tea, even matcha can help relieve digestion symptoms like nausea, constipation, indigestion, bloating, and more. You have so many choices, from tea bags to loose teas. And I just say, no matter what you choose, I highly recommend making sure that the tea is clean, it's pure, and there's not any garbage in there. And I know that sounds crazy, but sometimes these companies, they put some crap in their teas. They might spray their teas. Even the little tea bags can be from plastics. So we're talking pesticides and plastics, and just ingredients that we don't want. So just, Google the companies you use, pay attention. I've even just saw a clips that there might be gluten in some teas, which is crazy, because it should just be straight up dried up tea leaves, which again, you kind of have to research. But same with coffee, same with your water. You really have to do a little research on what you're putting into your body. I use both styles. I use the French pressed, or we have a teapot with a tea infuser they got from Japan that they love. And so we could put the tea in the infuser, and then you can put hot water and just let it really, steep into the tea. And then, of course, I do use tea bags at times too. So they also make electric teapots with removable infusers. You just want to make sure that you're using stainless steel and you don't have plastic in these teapots and coffee pots and things like that. But I am really I love my electric teapot. And that is something that my sister brought back from London years and years ago. And I was just like, this thing's incredible. So that if you want to really up your tea game, get yourself an electric teapot. And I don't have one with a removable infuser. I didn't really realize it when, I guess, we got it back in the day. And now I saw one, and I was like, oh, wait, you could put the loose tea in the teapot, and then you just press a button, and it's you've got tea in minutes. So again, you can, I think I have them, if you go to my blog and you look for holiday gifts, I have a link to the teapots, because I think that's a great gift. And I was talking to people about, I think each holiday, I say that get someone an electric teapot. That's a great gift. So I have a link on the blog article on my website about which teapots I use in my home and which ones I love. The electric teapots. And it's www.drlisasolsenti.com, and then you would search in the blog for holiday gifts. Okay, number 3 is to cut back on trigger foods. So if you know a food's bothering your stomach, if you just know it, right? You want to cut back on that food, of course. So if you're like, oh my gosh, every time I have dairy, I have a stomach ache, or I'm just not right, my stomach, I get reflux, or I'm nauseous, or I have diarrhea, right? That's something you need to take out. If you can make that connection yourself, you need to take out these foods. If you're not sure, because it's very hard to figure out, trust me, I did it wrong. And it wasn't until I did my own food sensitivity test that I realized, oh, it wasn't dairy, it was wheat. And with being Italian, I guess every time I was eating wheat, I would have dairy with it, right? There's always like a cheese and a wheat thing, like raviolis or, pasta. There's always cheese with pizza, cheese with wheat. So I was just always saying, my whole life, it's dairy, it's dairy, it's dairy. And really what it was wheat. So I ran my own food sensitivity test on myself, and I realized I had it mixed up. Now I'm still a little Reactive to dairy, I get a little like sinusy and mucusy, but that's not an actual food sensitivity affecting the colon. That's more, I think, of a mast cell reaction I'm kind of having, so a slight allergy to it. Or if it hits your stomach and your small intestine and you have pain and you can't digest it, that's a food intolerance. So there's different types of allergies and intolerances that you can react to food. So it's not like you might be reacting to dairy in a different manner. I know a lot of people tell me, oh, it gets my sinuses so, stuffed up, but my digestion's fine with it. So you could have all three of these, unfortunately, your food allergy, your food sensitivity, or your food intolerance, or you could have, 2 out of 3 or 1 or none. So food sensitivities are real. And if you were next to me as I was scrolling through social media, say we were sitting on the couch or hanging out in a coffee shop and I'm scrolling on social media, you laugh at how I scream or I'm just like, because there's so much misinformation out there, especially about leaky gut and food sensitivities. I want to make clear, because I've seen it out there and it's not true, so I'm going to give you some real information. Food sensitivities, they are delayed. They're delayed food allergies. They are a food allergy. So you have 2 types of food allergies. You have an acute food allergy, which is when you eat the food and you have an immediate reaction, right? Acute, immediate. So you might have hives, you might have, and it could take about 20 minutes, don't get me wrong, but you might have, an itchy tongue, your God forbid, your lips blow up. It's like a bee sting, right? If you got stung and your arm blows up, that's more of we call an acute allergy. It's a mast cell response, and it's dumping out histamine and inflammatory particles, and it's trying to protect you. It's an immune system inflammatory response to a food, or in the case of a bee, it would be an allergen of a bee. A delayed one is a food sensitivity. We renamed it because it's too confusing for people. The food allergy that's acute, they get confused between the 2 types of allergies. So what we do is we call the acute one a food allergy and the delayed one a food sensitivity. But I want you to understand, here's the information I want to get correct. A food sensitivity is a delayed food allergy, meaning you can eat something on a Sunday and your gut cells might react and you'll have symptoms maybe Tuesday or Wednesday. So this is kind of a transient type of a response. It's not immediate. That's what we're trying to say. So, and it comes from primarily the gut cells and not the mast cells. So this is really hard to figure out, right? Because if you eat something on a Sunday and you're in the bathroom immediately after you eat it, it might not be the thing you just ate. That's really big. I'm going to say that again because I got so confused on this one. You could eat something on a Sunday. Let's say I remember one day I had a veggie wrap and I was in the bathroom a few hours later and I was like, oh my gosh, what was in that wrap? Now, maybe the wheat, I did respond right in the wheat, in the wrap, but I also could have been the beer I had on Friday night. So it's very hard to figure out, right? So let's say maybe I shouldn't use that example, but let's say I had an omelet on a Sunday morning and I ran to the bathroom, because that's another thing that would happen to me. And it could have been, again, the pizza I had 2 days before, right? Or something like that. So it's very confusing to figure out food sensitivities, and that's why the food sensitivity lab test really just cuts it dry for you. It just tells you what you have to take out and what you don't have to take out, and it's just done. You don't have to play this guessing game. Back in the day before this test, what we did was we were doing elimination diets. Very difficult. Tried it on myself. Not easy. So the elimination diet would be you take one thing out. So you would take out wheat, and you can try this, and you would have to take it out hardcore for like 4 weeks and see if you get better, right? And if you get better from all these weird digestive symptoms you're having, and it also could be beyond the digestive tract. It could be headaches. It could be joint pain. It could be fatigue. It could be thyroid issues, all these things. If you take it out after 4 weeks and feel better, you kind of know, okay, that could be something. And if you put it back in for another 4 weeks, just this one food, you could be like, all right, I feel worse again. You could play that game for sure and like kind of play with it. But But you might be eating something along the way for those 4 weeks that's a really serious food sensitivity, and that's causing the problem. So it's really hard to tell because you're eating a bunch of different things. And again, they're transient, they're delayed, they're confusing. So the most effective way to determine your food sensitivities is through our unique food sensitivity lab testing. And you can, of course, contact me if you need help with that. But again, if you know a food trigger or you want to kind of play with it, you can do that. Another thing too, as you're going through holidays and you are even the summer, or you start boating, or you're on your vacations, or you're just going out with friends, we tend to drink alcohol. Not all of us, of course, but it's socially, drinking is one of those things, and we find it fun. And again, I want to keep this podcast at 20, so I'm going to wrap it up here for you. I don't like to take too much of your time, but alcohol is one of those things that stimulates that digestive tract. It does aggravate. There's sugar in alcohol. There's alcohol in alcohol. There's sometimes additives and things like that could really just get your stomach, your nausea, constipation, indigestion, bloating, going. So, and there's different types of alcohols as well. I know personally, if I do the sugary drinks, I stay away from all of them because they just get my stomach. They get my stomach going. So yeah, you could run and start doing, bitters before you drink, but is that really what we want to be doing for health? Do we want to, take a bunch of bitters and then go drink? Alcohol has bitters in it too. So, you could do more of a bitter drink with alcohol, but you got to understand alcohol is a poison. It's really going to work that liver. You've got your gallbladder there. You need your liver to work with that area of the stomach and the pancreas. So you're kind of messing that up in that way. So, you might want to try a mocktail. And there's lots of great things out there now. There's a whole movement toward mocktails. These generations are doing really well with this, I have to say. So you might want to look up mocktails, start getting into that. Just make sure there's no dyes in there. There's no artificial flavorings and colorings. You want to make sure that you're doing them as naturally as possible. I've seen a few where I'm like, "Ike!" Some of these companies are just really dumping a lot of sugar and junk into people. So you don't want to do that. I do right now, and I don't know when you're going to be listening to this, but I do offer a holiday mocktail guide. And it's usually out in the holiday season. I put out a healthy holiday recipe book and a rocking holiday mocktail guide. So if you're listening to this in the middle of the holidays, it's there. It's free. And if it's not, it will appear again. But you can definitely look at that. And if you go to the blog that I talked about before, that's Healthy Holiday Gifts, there is, from Apothecary, a incredible product that you can make your own mocktails with. But basically, let me just run through really fast for you, and then I promise I will not take any more of your time up. But in my Rocking Holiday Mocktail Guide, I'm going to give you an example, because if this isn't out there, okay. Let's say if you were going to do a margarita mocktail. So you want to do lime juice, fresh orange juice, and then you're going to do some sparkling water. So I'll give you the recipe. It's juice of 1 lime, 2 ounces of fresh orange juice, 4 ounces of sparkling water, and then you play with this to your liking, about a 1/4 teaspoon of some sweetener, or just do it to taste. I always do sweeteners to taste. I don't really follow recipes, what they tell me, unless you're baking. So you could do monk fruit, stevia. I like to just use a little bit of real honey, so I'm really not into monk fruit or stevia, but you could use those. Some ice, and then you can garnish, again, with sea salt on the rim of the glass. So it's really just simple like that. And you can put it in a nice margarita glass with the lime, and there you go. Let's talk about, I'll give you another one. I love mojitos. So again, 3 tablespoons of lime juice. You do the sparkling water. You put the French mint leaves in, and you're going to do the ice, and you're going to use your little bit of sweetener. And cut it up. Put your limes in there. Put the mint on top. Put a cute little, straw, and you've got yourself a cute little drink. It doesn't have to be difficult. These don't have to be, and there's not a lot of sugar in here, and there's not a lot of junk. You're using fresh limes, fresh mint, which is really healthy for you, both of them. Good for digestion on both of them. And then just be careful about what you use for your sweetener. And I'll give you one more because I'm having so much fun. Okay, one of the drinks I can't have, and these are one of the big drinks, is a pina colada. They get my stomach because of the stuff. It's just so bad with the sugar. So you can do a cup of frozen pineapple, and then you can use coconut milk, about 1/4 a cup, and you can blend these two together and put a handful of ice in there. And that's a little more clean than the stuff that you would be using. So you're really drinking, frozen pineapple with coconut milk. So a cup of frozen pineapple, 1/4 a cup of canned coconut milk, and then I would use organic, and then handful of ice. And you blend them in the blender until smooth, and then you garnish, make it pretty with the pineapple chunk, and the little umbrella. You're really going to have a good time. So I hope that this helps with helping you with digestion problems through the holidays. And this is my last podcast for our season. So please have a very blessed Christmas and holidays, whatever you celebrate. I appreciate you. And if you need help in the new year, please reach out to me. I really work to keep functional medicine affordable and accessible to you. I know that it's an amazing field. It just does phenomenal, but it can be pricey because insurance companies they just don't acknowledge us. So, and that's okay. I'm used to that in my profession, that they acknowledge pharma and the cutting and the slicing and the drugging, and not things like we talked about today, just really getting into the gut and healing you. The gut is the biggest surface area inside you. So if it's sick, you're sick. But I don't want to leave on a negative note. I want you to know that I'm here, and timing is everything. When you're ready or if you have questions, please, please, please don't be afraid to reach out to me. I absolutely love what I do. The email to best contact me is info@drlisasolsenti.com. Again, visit the website, drlisasolsenti.com. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok. They're my 2 new favorite places. I want you to just really enjoy the holidays as best you can. If you go to my website, there's the Rocking Holiday Mocktail Guide. There's the Healthy Holiday Recipes cookbook. So I've tried to provide, listen to these podcasts. I've tried to provide as much as I can to make functional medicine accessible and affordable. And I wish you a very Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays and a wonderful New Year's. Take care. God bless.